Hey guys,
We're back.
welcome back. We're gonna be into the semifinals right now. And Rain, who do we got in our top four?
On our top four, for this match, we're gonna have
Ericsson, Marquez,
Ericsson, Marquez, and
versus
Bugsy Centino.
I know,
Let's see
I know that Ericsson is not a memorable person by all means. No one who's that? Who's
Let's
Ericsson,
see what their
Marquez?
teams are.
But we're gonna be looking into their teams in just a bit. Both guys coming in at around what record they like 4-1, if I remember correctly.
If I remember correctly, Bugsy went 4-1 during the Swiss rounds, and also Ericsson.
Yeah,
also
both
went
of them
4-1.
pretty much even in terms of that ranking. And as you said beforehand, they actually faced off against each other,
The
right?
Swiss rounds earlier this day. During their match, I think Ericsson took the win there.
Ooh.
A very convincing win, actually.
it
Let's
really-
see. Let's see how Bugsy kind of adjusts his team, his play style. Let's see if he can get the W this time.
Yeah, it's really interesting, especially with that confidence boost in favor of Ericsson. But let's look at those teams right now. We have the Durant, we have the Milotic, and oh, it's the meta pick himself
There it is.
Roar. Gonna be there for Ericsson alongside the Lapras, and it's the Toge brothers, the Toge Demaru, and the Toge Kiss.
While on Bugsy's side, he's got Arcanine, he's got Ferrothorn, he's got the Grimmsnarl, the Mudsdale, also a Milotic, and that Mimikyu.
So first things first, I'm very surprised that Bugsy isn't running a full bug. You know, like Butterfree is a very strong Pokemon right now. You can make a team around it. But I guess Ferrothorn can keep.
Let's see how Ericsson uses
Yeah.
the Incineroar in
Yeah,
this
let's
game.
actually talk about the matchup itself.
The problem.
The problem. I guess it's also a problem. Incineroar is always going to be a problem. It's a very strong Pokemon. It is pretty much the #1 Intimidate user in the first place, and has so much type moves, has so much damage. And you're seeing a Flare Blitz or
Especially
something
that
like
Darkest Lariat.
Darkest Lariat, Flare Blitz all around. If you're feeling pretty cheeky,
Right.
you can go for the
Bugsy
start.
sent out the Mimikyu and the Ferrothorn here, while Ericsson sent out the Durant and the Milotic.
Yeah, Durant Milotic right here, right now for Ericsson.
Let's see if we'll see a turn 1 Dynamax here,
Yeah,
because
the
we want value off of that Durant with its hustle ability.
Yes, the Milotic in the meantime, you can go for different kinds of troll with it. It does have that tech to go for things like Hypnosis. You can also go for Recover. Just make sure Coil is a big one as well
Coil,
in terms of that.
the
stat.
Coil into the Hypnosis.
There's the Coil himself.
Turn 1 Protector from the Ferrothorn.
Interesting start from Ferrothorn, Airhead in the response, and onto the Mimikyu, but it doesn't connect. Hypnosis in the meantime going for the Ferrothorn, right, exposing that sleep.
There's the Trick Room.
And Trick Room safely gotten by Bugsy. Easy setup so far here for the red hand side, looking really good here for Bugsy. And as we said before, these two guys pretty much know what each other have as they played into the Swiss round.
Let's see how turn 2 goes here. Now that Trick Room is set up.
Will be a swap onto the Mudsdale, or will they be keeping those leads in the first place? Ericsson not connecting with that Hypnosis, but it wasn't a miss. We're not, usually when you see a Pokemon going for sleep antics, they also have something called the Blunder Policy.
Yep.
Get that speed up in the first place, it doesn't connect.
Ericsson sends out the meta-defining pick here.
Look at that.
Incineroar.
It's a cat that is looking to pounce, but then it also is a
Rocking
human.
that Intimidate for both of its opponents.
Is this what Garfield looks like if he goes to the gym?
I mean, like a shiny Garfield.
A shiny Garfield.
Yeah, that's a shiny Garfield
Instead
right
of
there.
Lasagna, it's Flames. But you know what else is going to be looking shiny? It's going to be the Dynamax here right now. The
It's
Mimikyu.
the Mimikyu here.
Actually, going to be pretty big here. An interesting choice for Bugsy. Look at that story. Usually when you go for a Mimikyu like that, going for damage, they have something like the Sword Stance, and then they try to get Phantom Forces or whatever they have in the leads. But anyway, Leech Seed though, the Ferrothorn going to be playing its usual game, buying time, being a pest, and looking to heal on up.
At max Starfall.
Right now.
So what is the effect of Misty Terrain?
Misty Terrain, of course, just gonna be set up on the field. And I believe the Misty Terrain, besides amplifying it, it removes like priority, something like that. I don't memorize my terrain. I know electric wakes you up. That's for sure.
Electric wakes you
dude,
up.
Have you
If
ever
I'm correct,
tried?
Misty Terrain prevents any statuses from your team.
Ah, it's really cool.
Actually, everyone.
It's it's just a way to even out
Get rid
the
of
field.
that possible hypnosis from the Milotic.
The terrain, you don't really notice the terrain sometimes. It's just there.
Yeah, I've been a victim of that. I keep forgetting
Like
what terrain it is.
it's such a low key thing that people forget about. Honestly, even I can say I forget about it sometimes.
It's the same. It's not. a bit different from the previous generations, where the terrain actually you can easily tell what the terrain what it currently is.
Yeah, and so the weather is usually the bigger impact
We
thing.
see Bugsy here sending out that shiny Milotic.
But let's only talk about the terrain a little more, because many of the moves that Dynamax Pokemon use set up terrain in the first place, like the common ones like Misty, like the Psychic one, like the Electric, as here we go with the Milotic, and as well as the Dynamax.
Ericsson with that Dynamax
Ericsson.
here.
Might be that's Durant looking a little big, and the Steel Spike's of course such a good way to keep up those defenses. And yes, the Durant can be in charge of this one. Looking to be a little strong, especially with its Pokemon powers. Minus point in time. Bugsy. I like the contrast actually. Just a real note. Bugsy running the Arcanine versus the Incineroar. Old versus new in terms of that meta. But right now,
Not letting that Arcanine go.
not gonna go for that, but it's a Mimikyu instead, going for the hits. Boosting up that attack as well, allowing Bugsy to look to get a little stronger. Steel Spike though in response, a good way to mitigate damage, and Mimikyu goes down. One hit. Gets that KO.
Can get that plus defense on that field there.
Seems like it just doesn't pan out. And Ericsson right now looking in charge after the Dynamax Warfare. It doesn't really matter about that Trick Room. Ericsson is just shrugging it off. But with the Milotic onto the field and the Ferrothorn dropping its Leech Seed earlier on, well, that's a lot of sustain for Bugsy if something doesn't die on his field. Anyway, Ferrothorn coming into the field with Milotic. A lot of different antics, that's for sure. The Milotic, if I remember correctly, is so useful against debuffs because it does have that ability called competitive. So if you get the debuff on, it gets a lot stronger.
It's also a good counter to that Incineroar.
Yeah, that's for sure. Water typing versus the fire. It's pretty much the rock paper scissors of OG Pokemon to say the least. Mr. Terrain though, 3 more turns left. Trick Room on 2. And that Ferrothorn gonna be looking to use the speed priority in its advantage. Leech Seed yet again.
Leech Seed on the Milotic.
Making sure that it finds its target. Milotic gonna go for the Scald as well onto Durant.
A good chunk of damage there. Durant is currently at half health with Ericsson's Milotic. Going for the coil here.
Making sure that its next turn is ready to go. Still no Steel Spike right now from Durant. Boosting up the defenses even more.
Steel Spike on the Milotic.
I like this here from Ericsson. He's really keeping his Pokemon into the field up in so many ways. He's going for Coil, he's going for Steel Spike, and that is just a lot of amplification. Even though he is getting Leech Seeded by this point, he's not really going for the damage per se onto the Ferrothorn because he knows that's going to be shrugged off by the Steel type in the first place. And of course, Iron Barb's such an annoying ability to deal with if you touch it. But yeah, Bugsy right now only gonna have to weather the storm one last time, I believe. 1 turn left though off Trick Room, and without the Mimikyu, no real setup. What will Ericsson do? Will it be the same old here, Mr. Rain, or will it be something else?
We'll see.
Power Whip though from the Ferrothorn.
Not gonna do much damage here with +2 on that defenses.
Yeah, it's way too tanky by this point.
Another Scald on the Durant.
Ooh, it stays alive thanks to the Steel Spike. And look at that,
another
Ericsson
coil.
Doesn't care. He is gonna go for the coil, expecting the Steel Spike to come
You can
yet again.
expect that Milotic going for the recover, getting back all that health,
Flutterby
right?
actually from the Durant. Remember guys, it also has that bug typing, and this time,
that's
Milotic
a
gonna go
one-hit
down.
KO.
This is really looking so good for Ericsson. He's he's up 2 Pokemon, and even if that Durant dies, the Milotic has how much on that defense, as well as how many on that coil.
Ericsson still has that fire type in the back that can easily take out that Ferrothorn too.
1 HP and a Dream on that Durant. It seems like he wanted that to be a swap, a free
What
swap.
is
into the next
Bugsy's
one.
last Pokemon
But
here?
Mudsdale though,
The Mudsdale.
I feel like it's a little late, honestly, for the Mudsdale as the Trick Room is ending. But sure, the Ferrothorn does find a little more use in Daks getting that first turn by this point in time. You know, I remember once, Rain, I casted a VOD that was European. And I can't remember right now, but the Trick Room name was super cool.
In German?
In German. Not gonna lie, you should try playing in German sometimes. But anyway, here we go right now.
Ironhead goes for half health on a Mudsdale, goes down due to Life Orb.
Doesn't care.
So Milotic's gonna be tanking both attacks from Bugsy.
But that's what the recovery is for, healing on up, making sure that it can try to stay alive. The defenses might be enough. High horsepower though, connecting onto Ericsson's Milotic. It's 23 HP. Oh, it's a crit! That's actually a big crit, and this might turn the tides into this game. Power Rip in response.
That takes out the Milotic.
Oh, and that is so unfortunate because it's like you were building something so tall, so grandeur, but someone removes that last brick on and it just falls on over. Poor Ericsson, his house of cards.
Now it's even again.
Tumbling all apart. Bugsy knows that Incineroar
Let's
is
see,
going to come
Ericsson's
here.
coming out, but what's his last Pokemon
Yeah, that's
here?
really the question. Alongside
There's
the
the
Incineroar,
Incineroar.
it's also going to be the
The
Togekiss.
Togekiss.
So Togekiss not a bad pick whatsoever. I like. It's going to be very effective
There's the
against
Intimidate.
what Bugsy has, and Intimidate's going to try to get that one down, but the own tempo, of course, mitigating all of that from the Incineroar. Still, Ericsson looking pretty much in command of this. The only
You'll
problem right now
probably see Incineroar going for that
Ferrothorn.
Ferrothorn.
Might be a double lap actually if Togekiss does commit as well. As I said, Ericsson might have really the lead here. The Mudsdale quite low already, and with the Togekiss into play, only a rock move going to be shutting that down.
There's the Dazzling
instead,
Gleam.
making sure it gets that coverage on.
Oh,
Doesn't get killed,
no
though.
kill.
Let's see if Flare Blitz
And there's
will
the
be enough.
expected Flare Blitz.
On
Let's
to
see if it
the
kills.
Mudsdale.
On
Yes,
the
that's
Mudsdale.
for sure. That's for sure. So we were thinking he was gonna go for the double up on the Ferrothorn, but he plays it a lot safer, taking care of the Mudsdale, just making sure
The
that
Gyre Ball on the Togekiss.
Togekiss can survive. But oh, the Gyre Ball, so potent. In response, weakness policy, gonna get procced. And this has to be game, set, and match for Ericsson. He has the priority into this one. He has his two Pokemon ready to destroy that Ferrothorn. And the real question is, what will Bugsy do into the next one? Ericsson showing that he has the proper leads and the proper way to play it out, even if the cool antics didn't work.
There's the Protect to
It's
stall out
Protect.
that
Do
one
you know
last
what?
turn.
You know what's really good about Protect last turn?
What?
It gives us more time to talk. Yeah, we can talk about more things. And you know,
So what do you
Blitz-
think Bugsy should do the next round?
I feel like I would like to see Bugsy use the Grimmsnarl in a few instances to set things up, but in terms of his Dynamax, it might be better to, as soon as the Trick Room comes from the Mimikyu, go for the Dynamax Mudsdale instead. Gonna
There's
keep it
a
alive a
Dazzling
lot
from
better.
Togekiss.
And if he knows the Incineroar is coming, the own tempo, gonna be able to say, hey, that's not gonna happen to me. But I'm not no VGC player, that's for sure. And Bugsy is gonna try to come on back after all of this, as game number 1 goes over to Ericsson, one match away from moving over to the finals. So there you go, guys. Ericsson taking that first one. And we'll see if this is going to be anyhow effective. We're just making sure that the camera, of course... Oh, Mr. Shy type himself. But we're just making sure right now, guys, if we don't show what kind of leads he's going to be going into. And Ericsson, close to the screen, but even closer to our hearts. What really was the defining factor of him taking that W there, Mr. Rain?
Let's see. He played really well with his Durant, getting a lot of damage to his opponent's team there.
Yeah, Steel Spike also setting up the defenses, surprising everyone that the Durant survived after that last hit, because even Ericsson was expecting the Life Orb to take it out, but apparently wasn't the case. Still got to tank a few more things, stay alive a little longer, and in the end, the last two Pokemon that he had, just a lot better than what Bugsy had in the first place. And I
Let's see
feel
if Ericsson's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
whip out the Togedemaru.
Maybe, but I feel like it was really Bugsy unable to take the opportunities of the Trick Room. We didn't see much of a sweep, we didn't see much of the cleanup. It was just the Ferrothorn trying to be
He
annoying.
did bring out the Mudsdale later in the match.
Right, very later in
Didn't
the match.
get to use Trick Room that
Yeah,
much.
and the Dynamax on
Alright.
to the Mimikyu, but it's
Game
time
2 coming up.
to get into game number 2. Ericsson gonna only need one more to take this W. In the meantime, Bugsy gonna be looking to reverse sweep and take 2 in a row. Mimikyu, of course, might be something that we expect here from Bugsy, especially with the Trick Room. Gonna be a factor into his roster. But what else? Will he try to fight against the Incineroar with his own Intimidate on the Arcanine? Or will he stay on that Mudsdale? I feel like the Mudsdale is a pretty core unit right now. If he can fight Ericsson as soon as the Milotic dies,
Yeah.
that Mudsdale is gonna clean up, that's for sure. That's really a reason why Bugsy stayed so long without it. But with Ericsson
The
being so...
Milotic is a huge wall and a threat for his team.
Dude,
He's
the
gonna
coils.
be building that team around the Mudsdale.
Yeah, the coils, the steel spikes is just so pesky, that's for sure. And now it's time to get into game number 2. Dodge on the left, Bugsy on the right. It'll be a fun time here in our VGC tournaments. And Striking Vipers providing another home for our Pokemon players. As Grimmsnarl and Mimikyu this time.
Grimmsnarl.
This is all about setup here for Bugsy. Knockdown in
Ericsson
behind.
going for the same leads.
Durant and Malak. Hey, it worked earlier on.
Yeah.
Might be a good way to keep up with the tempo. And we saw basically the game plan earlier with Ericsson Marquez and his Dynamax Durant alongside the Milotic Coils. Will it work out? Because I like it for Bugsy. He's going to be able to set up the Trick Room. He's going to be able to set up some screens and maybe speed control from that Grimmsnarl. Some Thunder Waves might be into the cards into this one. But Milotic recalled actually. Why did you
Going for the
recall?
Incineroar here. Wants to proc that Intimidate.
Yeah, why do you think the recall was none of the Milotic though instead of that Durant? You feel like it's gonna be a bigger threat?
Durant wants to get rid of that pesky little Grimmsnarl there.
Yeah, it seems like
there's
the Dynamax.
Dynamax from, this is Ericsson.
Yes, yeah, it's gonna be all about that still spike by this point. Flare by also an option here for the Durant. Sure, we haven't seen much from this ant, but I know that Bugsy knows what Ericsson has in store for him. With both guys playing each other in the Swiss bracket, well, there really is going to be no factors for surprise by this point, but the fake out right now.
Fake out.
Making sure that the supposed Milotic wasn't going to do anything.
And there's a berry.
Ooh, here
to
comes.
mitigate that steal damage.
It's going to be so difficult though for the Grimmsnarl.
And that's not enough.
That's not going to be enough. Usually you have, usually when I see that berry, honestly, it doesn't work as well as it should. It really is just such a big...
I really think Berry would work better with Togekiss.
Yeah, it's just such a big... It's just such big damage, that's
but
for sure.
At least Bugsy got to set up Trick Room here.
Yeah, at least the Trick Room is out. And maybe it's time to get that Mudsdale out again, or will it be the Ferrothorn into this one? No Dynamax as of yet for Bugsy. Milotic instead into the field. So one of the two Pokemon we were mentioning not going to be in the roster this time. Still, the Milotic pretty effective against both types. We'll see if the Milotic can clean up in this instance. But if I remember correctly, Milotic isn't the slowest Pokemon, so it will take a while. It really is going to be a battle speed between these three. And there are the Incineroar, the Durant, as well as Milotic pretty much on the high end into this one. But first things first, who's going to be Dynamax here?
There's the Dynamax here.
For Bugsy.
It's going to be, I think this is the Milotic.
I think it's a Milotic too, that's a netball there. Usually you want to catch Pokemon like that in the water, makes it easier. Especially if this is like something from all the way from the 3rd generation. Yeah. You don't remember how it's difficult to get Feebas.
One Feebas.
How do you get the one Feebas style? That's for sure. The Flare Blitz right now. Incineroar showing that it can truly back punch. Doesn't care about that recoil. But, oh, the Disguise unproc as of yet.
I'm actually curious what the interaction here. Will Incineroar get recall? He didn't.
He didn't. It seems like it wasn't any damage whatsoever. Pretty smart call there from Ericsson. Geyser though, connecting onto the Durant
here, surviving that Max Geyser.
We can already see the speeds here between our Pokemon. Mimikyu go for the Drain Punch though. Connecting onto Incineroar.
Not much damage there.
But sure, it's gonna...
Thanks to Intimidate.
It's still gonna get topped up though all the way full if I remember correctly. Oh, almost.
Oh, too shy.
Too shy, dude. I'm a little shy too, but Max Quake right now. In response...
Max Quake on the Mimikyu.
4 HP and the Dream. Dude, the Drain Punch was perfectly timed there from Bugsy. Special defense though going on up, so the guys are not going to pack as much of a punch as before. But right now, Bugsy having that Dynamax Milotic, really healthy condition. Mimikyu surviving, so this means that Ericsson still needs to deal with this in this turn. What will we have in store? Will we have another move from the Durant? Or will the Incineroar sacrifice the move to go for the hits, go for the KO? I feel like though one of the Pokemon on Ericsson's side is going to go down.
Let's see what Bugsy goes for here. Does he want the KO on the Durant or the Incineroar?
Yeah, like one Geyser can
but
change
it's
the
for
tempo.
sure that Mimikyu is not going to be surviving this turn. And here we go. The Flare Blitz from the Incineroar. Not going to do much recoil damage there.
It's a sliver of HP to get the takedown. I don't even think that.
And there's the Max Geyser on.
Response Geyser flying onto the Durant.
Wants to get that
does get the KO. Still Ericsson in the lead in terms of that numbers, but still has to be so wary about that Milotic. Be interesting to see him actually bring out the Togedemaru. Like if we see the Togedemaru, I'll be like, wow, that's a pretty big brain play. But Ferrothorn here for Bugsy.
Ferrothorn. We still haven't seen Arcanine here. I think he's very afraid of proccing that competitive on Ericsson's Milotic.
Yeah, that's for sure. And at the same time, it's just a difficult fight to begin with against Milotic, against a Lapras. Two water types on the side of Ericsson are really gonna make Bugsy think twice of bringing that out. But Ferrothorn and Milotic versus Milotic and Incineroar. The real question is, what will Ericsson do with his own Milotic? Because the Hypnosis might be into the cards here.
Power
Power
Whop
Whip though.
into the Milotic.
Power Whop, should he Whop?
Whop.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
But Milotic's going to be surviving that Power Whip. The
Yeah.
Flare Blitz into the Ferrothorn, of course.
Yeah, I've been
Not
observing.
going to be a one-hit KO there.
I've been observing
Thanks to
some
the
of
rain.
the matches of Ericsson, and I've noticed that his Milotic is pretty defensive actually. It stays alive in many instances where it shouldn't. Geyser right now though coming from
And
Bugsy.
Incineroar is going to be sitting this one out after this one.
Goodbye, says the Cats. But luckily for him, he did get the burn onto the Ferrothorn. So
Huge for Bugsy.
Yeah.
Huge for Ericsson.
yeah, Power Whip isn't gonna do much damage, and it will slow down the healing rate, especially just mitigate whatever leftovers has in store for him. Look at that, 11 HP up, 11 HP down, literally the same amount. Rain though, raining on down, Mr. Rain.
Still raining.
So is your favorite
And
weather
there
Rain?
is the lap. I've been trying to make a rain team work,
Yeah.
but with the meta, it's very important to have weather control.
I think you can do it in this season, especially like with Blastoise, with Lapras, maybe with Alola Ninetales. There might be actually good opportunities with those kind of Pokemon. You can never go wrong with Togekiss too. And speaking Togekiss, he's back into the field. Hey, you know, maybe you can do a Ludicolo too. Just like go through the dance, make sure everything's fun.
Going for
though?
that Leech Seed, wants some HP back.
Yeah, he knows he
I
needs
was
to
like going for the
sustain.
Scald on the Togekiss here.
It's all he has
Not
left.
much damage.
Ericsson and
And
Bugsy.
there's the recover.
Two Pokemon left. Recover right now though from Milotic. And it will be enough of a top up. 144 HP. Heat Wave though! Not gonna
And
connect.
but goes for the Ferrothorn.
And the Ferrothorn's still gonna burn on up. And this might be game 7 match.
Yep.
Bugsy still has the chance though. He has a full HP Milotic, but Ericsson having the same exact Pokemon on the other side. 2v1 scenario. Gonna be very difficult, especially. It's gonna be a matter of the speed stat actually. But as we've seen before, Ericsson's Milotic more on the defensive end. What does Bugsy have in store
Bugsy's
for us?
Milotic is also a bit on the defensive end.
So Air Slash though?
They're quite similar.
They're quite similar, interesting enough, but coils here from Ericsson looking to
Interesting
finish
coil.
things up as the air slash there from the Togekiss. He knows he has the advantage, so he is just going to
Another
look to
Scald.
keep things up. And Togekiss going to go
that a
down.
crit?
A
Oh,
crit!
it crits!
That is actually Bugsy's
Interesting.
chance! The critical hit gods!
Now it's going to be a question of who goes first this turn.
Who has the
has the
better
faster
Milotic?
Milotic?
Who has the
Mirror
Milotic?
match! And they also have almost the same HP right now.
Up where they walk, up where they run, and up where they stay all day in the sun, these two Milotics gonna be looking to be part of our worlds here. As 144 to 153 right now. Who can get more damage done? Ericsson gonna have that slight edge thanks to that initial coil. But Bugsy in the meantime feeling confident after getting that crit. Who
Ericsson
will
might
fight?
want to use the Hypnosis here.
Who might actually go for the Hypnosis? Who can actually get the Hypnosis first? It's gonna be a speed battle of the century. And we'll see right now in our PGP semifinals here at Striking Vipers as Ericsson versus Bugsy coming to a close. One match here for Ericsson to move into the finals, but protect from Bugsy.
There's Protect.
Playing it safe. And meantime,
Another
coil!
coil.
Beautiful read from
Good
Ericsson.
read from Ericsson.
Understands that Bugsy wants to play it safe, doesn't care, shrugs it off, attack, defense, accuracy, all coming on up. And this might be time for a nap onto Bugsy's side. Protection though, does Ericsson have the protect as well? That's gonna be the real question into this one, if he needs to cycle things out. It seems like Ericsson is calling for it, calling for the sleep. If it connects, so that should be him having the biggest
And
advantage
there's
of
the
all.
expected Hypnosis
Hypnosis
from Ericsson.
will not miss, especially after all those coils. And Coil Milotic, man, is a pretty meta-defining Pokemon as well into this Sword and Shield season. Now the real question is, the real question is this gonna be a one-turn sleep as the Muddy Water comes?
Not much damage on
Takes
that.
absolutely no real damage. And the competitive actually gonna get dropped after he drops. Everyone laughing around it, but Bugsy's still taking a nap. This is so close. This is so close. No, I feel like Bugsy.
At this point, I think Ericsson just wants to stall out the match.
He can stall out that, but it's a big timer on both sides. Milotic right now, Muddy Water again. Trying to go for the hits.
Is there going to be another accuracy drop here?
Oh, that's the real question.
Oh, another! We're currently +2 on Bugsy's Milotic.
Holy.
Still asleep? It woke up.
It woke up.
Goes for the recover. That's a really good play, Bugsy.
Okay. We are here. Guys, it's time to sit down. It's time to sit down, get some popcorn, to watch this Milotic versus Milotic fights. As we are coming to a close, Ericsson still gonna have that hypnosis in his arsenal. And we've seen that he's been able to go first after all of that. There you go. GG gonna get called actually
gets the win.
by Ericsson. Bugsy will take it. Ericsson feeling afraid after the initial hits. Thanks to all of that.
It goes down to both players' last Milotic.
Yeah, it was pretty fun there.
But for that match, obviously Bugsy has the better Milotic.
Good. The competitive drop proc twice. And I think that's a plus.
That was really good RNG for Bugsy.
Yeah, it's like what? It was a sharp one, so it's +4 if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's +4,
plus
not
2 times
+2.
2. Big plus there. Doesn't even matter what it uses in the first place. And we've seen the skull there. We've seen 3 moves actually from the Milotic of Bugsy. We've seen the skull, we've seen the recover, we've seen the protect. We haven't seen that last move as of yet. Does Ericsson know about it? Maybe that's why he went for the quits already. But the real question is, can Ericsson still win after that one? He was really in control of that game, but it seems like the last parts of the match really just falling out of his favor. PGP, man. PGP VGC. The local scene having such a good heyday. Rain, do you have any suggestions here for either of our players right now coming into game number 3?
Still the same. I don't think we'll be seeing much of Bugsy's Arcanine. We haven't seen Arcanine. Will Bugsy still use Grimmsnarl since it didn't work out for him in previous match? It really just ate that max steel spike. Not much value on that Grimmsnarl right now.
But it might be his lucky charm here. If the Grimmsnarl is actually able to set things up, it might help out into the long run. And it seems like he's not really using the Trick Room Munsdale strategy. He's committing onto the Ferrothorn for that Trick Room speed swap.
Bugsy might still use Mimikyu here since it's been.
I feel like the Mimikyu is going to be core for his arsenal, and I do think the Milotics are going to be important. But the real question here is Ericsson. Will he swap out the Togekiss for the Togedemaru? I'd like to see at least that.
As much as I want to see Togedemaru, I don't see him using it just for this match. Just because that Mudsdale is going to be a big threat to that
It's a big threat indeed, and if he's going to go for 2 steel types between the Durant and the Togedemaru, well, if Bugsy is able to get that read and the Mudsdale comes, that is going to be game, set, and match in that instance. But let's go, guys, into game number 3, Ericsson versus Bugsy. Winner moves on to the grand final. Loser going to go home in the top 4.
Ericsson still leads with the Durant and the Milotic, and Bugsy with the same lead.
Same leads as of game number 2. Ericsson feeling his strategy still should work.
Will Mimikyu still set the Trick Room here?
I feel like the Mimikyu has been just a good way to disregard any kind of first turn antics. Of course, that disguise mitigating the initial form of damage. Grimmsnarl being there as well as like, hey, if you don't deal with Grimmsnarl, it's gonna set things up.
And there's the turn 1 Dynamax Durant on Ericsson's side here.
It seems
so
like,
let's see how Bugsy responds.
It seems like it's gonna be a case of deja vu into this one, as here comes Ericsson with the big Durant. Apparently, he's providing his own commentary. Yep. If we get Swagger, guys, that has to be Game 7 match, as he says. A Swagger comes!
There's the Swagger!
There comes the Swagger! Onto the Mimikyu! Boosting up the Mimikyu's attack. Does get the confusion, though. Interesting play from Bugsy.
Oh, with a berry. That is a Lumberry? Yeah, it is a Lumberry.
Free boost there.
With a Babiri Berry, but as we've seen from previous game, that's going to take out the Grimmsnarl.
Doesn't matter. What does Grimmsnarl do? It gets the Swagger though. So Bugsy's changing up the whole game. He went for the swagger.
We didn't see that in previous games.
We went for the swagger on his own Mimikyu. This boosts him up. He could have actually gone for the swagger.
And Milotek going for the hypnosis here, but misses.
And there you go with the blunder policy and a proc. But I'm trying to say that now, like if he went for the swagger onto the ramp, could have actually.
But there's also the trick room. That blunder policy is just not going to be working for Ericsson's side.
Yes, Mimikyu going to be pretty much in charge of the tempo. And respecting that fair turn to come out. Oh, but Lotte actually here for Bugsy.
Another Milotek here.
He knows that he will get priority in a trick room setup.
Yeah. We've seen last game.
Yep.
Bugsy's Milotek was just slower with Ericsson's Milotek with +2 speed right now.
Oh, it's very fast. So it means that it is going to be at the back of the line.
So we'll be seeing Mimikyu move first, then Milotek, then we'll see then we'll see Ericsson's Durant, and then his Milotek moving this turn.
I would say so too. We'll see though. But the Durant is going to go into this one. Milotek can
There's a switch out with the Incineroar, trying to get that -1 speed on the Mimikyu.
-1 on the attack, as after that swagger.
But there's the competitive.
Still,
interesting.
I like it. It's just basically Ericsson having to decide who to
which
debuff
is the worst
and who to buff. The Milotek getting one back up with the competitive.
Let's see who he Dynamaxes here.
See, I think this is the Mimikyu.
Mimikyu?
Yeah, it seems like it's the
Interesting
Mimikyu.
choice.
After the +2 -1, so this +1 basically on this Mimikyu
its
right
attack right now is multiplied by times 1.5. So that's +50% on Mimikyu's next attack.
Why?
With a Scald.
Whoa!
With a max Starfall, should. Will that take out the Incineroar? That Incineroar is bulky, my friend.
By this point in time, guys, it's just fun to step down from commentary. Flutterby comes, but it seems like
do damage.
It seems like our player base and our audience are giving us the life of the party that we need. Ericsson really trying to
with
pump
another
up.
competitive
though, gonna get procced yet again.
So that Milotek is at
+4.
+3, right? With max Flutterby. Flutterby?
Flutterby
is -1, so it's at +3 right now.
Exactly.
It is not looking good for Ericsson right now.
This is really
with his first
apart.
game, we thought he was going to be in control of his game.
And in game 2, it really looked like he was in control till that last moment. But right now, it is
all
Bugsy.
it took was Bugsy to use that swagger on his Mimikyu.
Bugsy is changing the name of the game, especially with
Incineroar with the
behind
taunt on the Milotek.
So this does mean there's no recovers, no protects. Oh, interesting that Ericsson actually goes for the taunt onto Milotek as the rat's gonna go down, because we've seen from Bugsy that he doesn't have things to boost himself up. We haven't seen like the coil from Bugsy's side. It was all Ericsson, and he might be reading this a little different.
There's a max Knuckle trying to get that another attack boost on the Mimikyu. So like Mimikyu's back to +2 attack.
Give you back the attack from the Intimidate. Ericsson
we'll be seeing Ericsson's Milotek again, and maybe Togekiss.
Down 2 right now. How will he respond? This is Bugsy having exactly almost everything in his favor. Sure, he lost the Grim Style early, but the swagger to surprise everyone. Good call there from Bugsy, but here comes the Togekiss as well as the Milotek. Has been the bread and butter of Ericsson so far, but this time it is looking pretty dire for our blue hand side. What can Ericsson do? What can he actually accomplish with what he has? Coil's gonna be into the market, but what does the Togekiss have to begin with?
Bugsy's Mimikyu has boosted attack. His Milotek also has boosted special attack.
And look at that Scald doing a big amount of damage. Muddy Water in response. Does it pop the accuracy again? Oh my god!
Again.
That's +5. And GG
looks like
just
Ericsson is conceding
Ericsson
this game.
Stands up. And it seems like the fortunes do favor the bold. Maybe we can take a little damage.
That was a very, very bold move by Ericsson.
Double up onto Togekiss, gonna mop the floor out of that one. And that should be game, set, and match by this point. We've seen what happened earlier on in the 2v1 scenario. That should be the forfeit by this point. And Bugsy.
Bugsy
Oh,
getting this win.
We're still going.
2-1.
We're still going, Mr. Ericsson. We're gonna call it here. We're already putting the score, but I guess we're assuming, dude.
We're going back.
We're gonna go for it. Crit, 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 crit. No, melodic. Gonna take too much damage there. Even not very effective.
Melodic with the Muddy Water.
Will
this proc again?
I think if the melodic gets procced again, it's already at max boost.
It procs again. Yep, now it's in max because it's +8 now.
That's for sure. That's like the highest it can go. So what did we learn there?
Mimikyu closes out the game with that last play rough.
What did we learn?
A very good match for between teams. Bugsy really had to go for that very bold play at the start of the third game.
GG is called. And what can we say about that game, Ren? Well,
that swagger play really shocked me. I was not expecting that.
It was very smart. Like, you could have gone for the safer swagger in the sense against the Duranster and boost your attack, but the confusion can be pesky. But then he really had a plan for it, snapping it out with the berry and allowing him to take that W from there. Tempo going heavily in his favor. Boost going heavily in his favor. And that was game, sets, and match. We are going to go into the Grand Finals very soon.
Grand Finals is coming up. It's going to be up against Bugsy, Centino, and Renny Payumo.
Yeah, it's going to be Weather Control versus Stats. Who will take it? We'll see what's going to be up into the next one.